Hello and welcome, as always, to the north coast of the Dominican Republic. Today we thought we would cover a rather sensitive subject. You really don't have to look very far to read or to hear about situations that have gone horribly wrong when purchasing real estate here in the Dominican Republic. So today we thought we would cover all of the key points you need to be aware of before purchasing a property here on the north coast.
Just to give some context to what Phil said earlier, if you're in the right hands, these issues are very few and far between.
Now, one of the most important considerations that you need to make is to find the right team on the ground. There are some really good agents here on the north coast. There are also agents that leave a lot to be desired. So this is a very, very important key consideration. Let's go.
Aquí hablaremos de algunas de las preguntas que debes hacerle a tu agente o representante inmobiliario. Número 1, ¿habla español? Número 2, ¿qué tiempo lleva en el país? ¿Conoce el área, los proyectos? Número 3, ¿está trabajando aquí de manera legal? Y número 4, si tiene algún tipo de educación o formación en el sector inmobiliario.
Now, the reality is, when you get to a country that's as beautiful as this is, sometimes you can let your guard down. And before you know it, you've met someone that's telling you something that really seems too good to be true. And remember, if it sounds too good to be true, generally it is.
So one of the things to look out for in new construction deals are so-called guaranteed rental returns. Are you familiar with the difference between a gross return and a net return? Make sure the developer or the agent that's selling you the product explains the difference between the two terms.
Another really important consideration is to ensure that the property you're interested in has a clean title and a dislinde. Can't stress this enough. The property could be full of incumbencies, and if you're not protected on the ground with a good team, this can really turn into a nightmare. Now, really, it's the same all around the world. There are good real estate agents, there are bad ones. There are good lawyers, there are bad ones. And if you're considering a new build in the Dominican Republic, there are good developers and there are bad ones. So it's so important that you select the right developer that delivers the product on time and that they do what it says on the tin.
Right then, let's talk about lawyers, attorneys. The number one thing you need to keep in mind is that when you're purchasing a property in this country, you as the buyer have the final say on who is your legal representation. Now, we as a company can recommend from a group of lawyers and offices that we've worked with throughout the years, but never let anyone dictate to you who should be your legal representation. After all, you're the one paying for it. Now I'm going to talk to you about one of my favorite real estate scams here in the Dominican Republic. Buy a house from us and we'll give you a job. Isn't that just fantastic? The agent's selling you a home and you've already got a job set up for your new life in paradise. Avoid this at all costs.
Now, another very important consideration is before you present an offer, there should be absolutely no grey areas. We are aware of situations where offers have been made contingent to the rental performance of a property that didn't quite work out and the deposit was lost. Of course, if you're in the hands of a good agent, this won't be an issue. Something else to be mindful of is the old bait and switch. As you know, there's no MLS system here, so a lot of the agency sites are old, out of date, and have properties on from a long time ago at crazy prices. Obviously, you make an inquiry and you switch to something else. So be careful, bait and switch.
And lastly on the list is the old beachfront lot scam. Admittedly, this doesn't happen so often today, but in the early 2000s, there used to be a guy walking around with a plan made by a surveyor of 1,000 square meters or a quarter acre on a beach somewhere in Cabarete. He also had a title with the same corresponding name, but of course he never owned anything on the beach. With the deslinde process that is in works today, it's almost impossible to do this scam, but this is one from the archives.
So there you have it, some very important things that you need to look out for when you're purchasing property here in the Dominican Republic. But key to all of this is working with the right people on the ground who will make it seamless and effortless for you and keep those headaches at bay. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, as usual, please don't forget to hit like, share and subscribe.